What if I told you that the people inside United States Congress didn't just beat Wall Street, they quietly outperformed Warren Buffett, and now the paper trail is impossible to hide? Because this is exactly what just happened, folks. A new congressional trading report didn't expose a rumor. It exposed math, cold numbers, filed disclosures. And those cold numbers are now showing members of Congress averaging returns that professional investors at Berkshire Hathaway haven't pulled off in decades.
For calling this important hearing, and thank you to our witnesses for appearing before us today. Let me say it at the outset, I unequivocally support a ban on members of Congress trading individual stocks, and that ban should extend to the co-equal branches of government as well.
So while you're grinding and saving and hoping the S&P 500 doesn't rug pull your retirement, and this isn't about one party, this is not about one lucky trade. This is about patterns, committee seats lining up with stock picks, obscure defense companies suddenly exploding, and lawmakers like Nancy Pelosi walking away richer with zero consequences. Now, here's the part that should really bother you. None of this was hidden. It was just buried. Right up until the internet connected the dots and the story went viral. And so now lawmakers are panicking, bills are flying, and Donald J. Trump has just stepped in, publicly backing a ban that would have been laughed off just a few months ago. So now the question is simple. If Congress didn't think that they were doing anything wrong, then why are they scrambling right now? Stick with me, guys, because once you see how this works, you won't unsee it. Don't forget to drop a like for the video and subscribe. Okay, here's where the story stops being speculation and it becomes unavoidable facts. The 2025 Congressional Insider Trading Report didn't leak. It didn't come from a whistleblower. It came from filings, legally required disclosures that were submitted by Congress members inside of the United States Congress themselves. And so when analysis aggregated the data, the results were staggering. 38 members of Congress posted returns higher than Warren Buffett in the same year. Let that sink in, guys. Congress averaged just over 33% returns. Meanwhile, the S&P 500 gained roughly 16 to 17%. This wasn't just a lucky quarter. This wasn't a single breakout stock. This was a full year of trades, time-stamped, dollar-ranged, and publicly documented. Now, here's the part that people completely missed. It wasn't hidden. It was buried in plain sight until the math made it impossible to ignore. So now, let's go ahead and put those numbers into real-world perspective. Warren Buffett isn't a talking head. He runs Berkshire Hathaway. This is a firm that employs teams and teams of analysts. I'm talking they have access to management, decades of institutional discipline, and even with all of that, Warren Buffett himself has said beating the stock market consistently is nearly impossible. Now, professional fund managers, they fail at this every single year. So when sitting members of Congress start doing it repeatedly, the explanation matters because skill doesn't suddenly materialize when someone gets elected. Discipline doesn't magically appear with a committee assignment. So what does appear is access. That's right, folks, access. Access to non-public briefings, access to regulatory timelines, access to information that moves markets before the public ever sees it. That's why this is not impressive. It's alarming. This isn't genius, it's proximity. And so this is where the averages stop telling the full story and the outliers blow it wide open.
Well, lawmakers in Washington, D.C. are actually working on legislation to ban stock trading for members of Congress and the president and vice president after years of discussions. As Rebecca Castor reports, the bill has bipartisan support but faces several roadblocks.
The days of lawmakers cashing in on Wall Street could be numbered as the Senate works on a new bill to ban trading for Congress.
Members of Congress get briefings. They get information presented to them. It's not technically insider information under our current laws, but let's be honest, it's information that members of the general public don't have access to.
Dubbing it the Pelosi Act, Missouri Senator Josh Hawley's bill bans members of Congress from trading or holding individual stocks. But it also goes all the way up to the White House, banning the president and vice president from trading too.
Before I ran for office, in my primary, I sold all my individual stocks, sold all my operating businesses, because I didn't want any conflicts of interest. And that should exist for every single elected official, not just here in Washington, D.C., I'd say every elected official.
Reportedly, Hawley added the White House to the bill to secure Democrats' support. President Trump has previously said he would sign legislation banning stock trading for lawmakers. But with the executive branch now included, the White House says it presents constitutional concerns.
One of the clearest examples is Warren Davidson, who reportedly posted returns north of 78% in a single year. Now, that's not edging out the market. That is obliterating it. Now, here's why this matters. Markets don't reward randomness like that without risk-taking or insider timing. Hedge funds with armies of analysts don't pull that off consistently. Mutual funds certainly don't do that. So when someone inside of Congress does, the odds matter. The probability that this level of performance happens organically year after year across multiple lawmakers, the logic behind that collapses real fast. That's the key distinction. This isn't about one lucky trade. This is about a cluster of impossible results that only make sense when you factor in informational advantage. Coincidence stops working as an explanation. And while all of this is happening, while insiders are turning access into advantage, regular Americans are getting hit from the other side. Now, I heard from a retiree who stared at a pharmacy receipt in disbelief. Same medication, same dosage, nothing changed, except the calendar year. New Medicare plan year, double the cost, no warning, no explanation, just a higher bill and fewer options. This is how quiet systems work. They don't announce the damage, they just let it happen. That's why Chapter exists. They help prevent those medication shocks by reviewing your Medicare coverage every single year, just before the damage is done and not after, but before. That makes a huge difference. Now, most people, they're already dialing the phone number at the bottom of your screen. In fact, when you give my friends at Chapter a call, let them know that your friend Ron says hello. That phone number again is 909-563-8279, or click the link down below and go to askchapter.org/Ron to make sure that you're not overpaying without realizing it. Because whether it's Washington or healthcare, the people who check early, they don't get blindsided later. All right, so to really understand how this keeps on happening in the stock market for Congress, you have to understand how Congress actually functions. Members don't just vote. They sit on committees, defense, appropriations, oversight, where they're briefed on budgets, contracts, regulatory changes, and timelines long before the public even hears a word about this. These aren't rumors. These are structured briefings with real dollar consequences. Take defense spending. Committees help to decide which programs get funded, expanded, delayed, or killed. Now, this directly impacts contractors, sometimes massive firms, sometimes small, obscure companies that most retail investors have never even heard of. And so now imagine hearing that information weeks or even months before an announcement moves a stock. That's why committee seats quietly function like market signals, not because someone breaks the law, but because the law allows access without restriction. And once you understand that mechanism, the trades stop looking impressive and they start looking inevitable. This is the pipeline.
A House Oversight Committee Chair James Comer joins me now about this stock trading by Congress. Forgive me, Congressman, but I got a proposal. What if there was a congressional database clearly stating any trade that lawmakers make and reported immediately in real time, so we all know exactly what everybody's doing? What's wrong with that?
I don't think anything's wrong with that. I would support that. Look, I'm going to vote for the bill, but I think you'll find that the most egregious stock trader in Congress over the last decade has been Nancy Pelosi's husband, and what he was trading mainly were stock options. And I don't know if this bill even applies to stock options, but that's the ultimate insider trading. And most members of Congress don't even know what a stock option is. So, but I'm going to support the bill. I know if you polled it in Kentucky, it would be 99% in favor of it. But again, I think the problem in Congress has been Pelosi, because she's the ultimate insider. Some of those names of members of Congress that you had on their trade stocks, I don't even know who they are. And I've been in Congress 9 years. So the Pelosi had access to some insider information. Her husband was trading stock options that expired in a very short period of time. So they were expecting a rapid movement one way or the other.
Yeah, got it. Congressman, Minnesota's pushing back against the administration's threat to cut billions in Medicaid funding over fraud concerns. Watch this.
The hallmark of most fraud schemes is that people hide information. So leveraging data analytics allows us to see patterns, trends, anomalies, hidden connections to shine a bright light on what's actually happening.
We're applying the technique of trust but verify, doing some basic checks before agencies can certify a payment.
We support the federal government and the states and local governments in using our fraud risk framework, which would then feed into algorithms, machine learning, AI, other data science methods to track and monitor potential fraud while the program's in execution.
Congressman, you are holding hearings on this. Do you believe you've got a handle on preventing fraud?
Well, what we're trying to do is implement technology, AI technology, to try to be able to go in and detect anomalies. But one of the biggest frauds with Medicaid, and it's in the states that expanded Medicaid, like Minnesota, is where once you get enrolled for Medicaid, you're on Medicaid forever. And Medicaid was created to be a temporary safety net for pregnant women, for children. Obviously, when you grow up, you don't need to be on Medicaid. And for people who just lost their job, between jobs and things like that. But what's happened is the Democrats have made the whole Medicaid system an entitlement. And they've used that as a vote buying initiative to be able to get people signed up on Medicaid. And look, Medicaid is free health care. So if you're on Medicaid, I don't care which state you're from, that's the best healthcare plan going because you don't have to pay a penny for it. And not only is it abused by Medicaid enrollees, it's also abused by a lot of providers. And in certain states like Minnesota, you had Medicaid dollars going for drug rehab, for mental health. And we've seen the Somali daycare centers. We believe there are Somali mental health facilities that are much like the daycare centers. So that's what we're trying to get a handle. So I strongly support President Trump.
So this is where the story stops being abstract and it becomes undeniable. Representative Susie Lee sits on the House Appropriations Committee and the Defense Subcommittee, two of the most powerful positions when it comes to military spending. And so after nearly 2 years of not buying individual stocks, she suddenly made a single purchase. Not Apple, not Google, not Nvidia. She bought Rheinmetall. This is a relatively obscure European arms company that most Americans couldn't even name. Within months, that stock surged dramatically as defense spending accelerated and geopolitical tensions escalated. Now, this wasn't diversification. This wasn't a long-term index fund play. This was precision. Now, here's where it gets even worse. The purchase aligned directly with the committees that she served on and the contracts that those committees influence. Now, that timing isn't illegal, but it isn't accidental either. So this is the money trail that people just cannot explain away. Rheinmetall wasn't the exception. It was the blueprint. Defense committees, they don't just influence household names like Lockheed Martin or Boeing. They influence dozens and dozens of smaller suppliers, firms whose stock prices can double on a single contract announcement. So this is why insiders, they don't chase the giants. Giants move slowly. Small cap defense companies, they explode when money hits them. Volatility isn't a risk if you already know the direction. And so that's the uncomfortable truth here. Access flips volatility from danger into opportunity. The same swings that could wipe out retail investors become profit engines for those sitting closest to the decision-making table. Now, this is not about patriotism or policy. This is about positioning. Once you see the pattern, the trades stop looking bold and they start looking engineered. And so you really can't talk about congressional stock trading without addressing Nancy Pelosi. Not because Nancy Pelosi is alone, but because she is the clearest example of what never happened afterward. Now, for years, Nancy Pelosi's trades drew all sorts of attention for their timing and scale. Estimates put the gains in the tens or even hundreds of millions of dollars over her time in office. And yet, despite endless headlines and public outrage, there were no penalties. No investigations that went anywhere, no enforcement action that stuck. That's the real issue. Exposure without consequences teaches behavior. It tells lawmakers that the system may grumble, but it won't bite. Don't worry about it. And once that lesson is learned, the incentives lock in. If senior leadership can trade, junior members can follow. If nothing happens, everyone relaxes. This is not about relitigating Nancy Pelosi's portfolio. This is about what her immunity quietly normalized across Congress. So here's the turning point that Congress didn't anticipate. All of this information was technically public for years, buried in PDF filings and scattered across databases impossible for normal people to track. Public record, yes. Public awareness, absolutely not. Now that changed when independent analysis, alternative media, and even social media platforms began aggregating the data and showing the patterns visually, screenshots, charts, side-by-side comparisons. All of a sudden, the story wasn't abstract, it was obvious. And that's when it went viral. Now, once regular Americans could actually see lawmakers beating the market while lecturing them about sacrifice, the narrative completely flipped.
The oath we take as members swears fidelity to the Constitution and the rule of law over personal gain or financial benefit. The Founding Fathers recognized the danger of self-enrichment by those in power. Sick of the unchecked corruption that was a feature of the monarchies of the time, James Madison warned against the bias in judgment that can cause the pursuit of personal gain to supersede that of the common good. In this moment, confidence in our government is abysmally low. Fostering public trust in our institutions is the absolute bedrock of the American experiment. It is what gives our government legitimacy. But that trust must be earned and kept by holding ourselves to the highest standard of conduct possible. Even the mere appearance of impropriety is unacceptable and cannot be tolerated. For years, my dear friend and predecessor, Representative Louise Slaughter, worked tirelessly on the Stop Trading on Congressional Knowledge Act referenced by my friend, the chair. The Stock Act was signed into law 13 years ago, and though it enacted much-needed reforms to enhance disclosure requirements and explicitly prohibit insider trading by government officials, there is much, much more to do.
Now, this wasn't partisan spin anymore. This was receipts. And viral attention does something institutions hate. It removes control. Congress didn't decide this conversation was happening. The internet did. And that is why this moment feels different. The spotlight is not going away. And so this is the moment where pressure turns into action. After years of stalled proposals and symbolic gestures, actual legislation to restrict or even ban congressional stock trading is finally moving. Republican lawmakers are pushing bills that would prohibit members of the United States Congress and in some cases their spouses from trading individual stocks while in office. Democrats, sensing the public mood, they're demanding even tighter versions with fewer loopholes. And so here's why this moment is different. The backlash is no longer hypothetical. Lawmakers aren't responding to activists. They're responding to voters who now understand the system well enough to be angry about it. The narrative shifted from ethics reform to self-dealing. And once that framing stuck, delay became politically dangerous. This isn't Congress leading reform, it's Congress reacting to exposure, and reactions tend to move faster than principles. Then the dynamic shifted again. When Donald J. Trump publicly backed a ban on congressional stock trading, the issue stopped being theoretical and it became executable. Trump didn't hedge, he framed it plainly. Lawmakers should not be ripping off their constituents while writing the rules. And that matters, because Trump doesn't just comment, he applies pressure. And with the presidency behind him, that pressure changes the incentives inside Congress overnight. Suddenly, this wasn't just a debate about ethics. It was a question of alignment. Who's with the voters? Who's defending a system that looks increasingly indefensible? And that's why the tone in Washington changed. Quiet resistance gave way to nervous messaging. Statements got shorter, defenses got softer, and when President Trump enters a fight like this, inertia breaks, whether Congress likes it or not. And this is why the reaction inside Congress feels different this time. Lawmakers aren't worried about legality. Most of these trades were technically allowed. They're worried about legitimacy. Once voters see their representatives beating Wall Street while inflation, housing costs, and even retirement anxiety crush everyday Americans, trust evaporates real fast. And trust is the currency that Congress runs on. And so this is why damage control is accelerating. Carefully worded statements, sudden openness to reform, quiet distancing from past defenses. I mean, look, when institutions move like this, it's not because they had a moral awakening. It's because they actually sense political danger. The public now understands the system well enough to judge it, and once that happens, the old strategy of delaying stops working. This is the moment right here. This moment isn't about punishing individual lawmakers. It's about whether Congress can survive another credibility hit or whether this one finally sticks. So here's the truth that ties everything together. The system didn't suddenly become corrupt. It didn't malfunction. It did exactly what it was designed to do: operate quietly, legally, and out of sight. What changed wasn't the behavior, it was the visibility. The money trail didn't appear, it was revealed. And so once Americans actually saw the numbers, the timelines, and the patterns, the story couldn't be contained anymore. And so this is why the story feels like a breaking point. Not because Congress got caught doing something illegal, but because it got caught doing something familiar at scale in public. And so now the question isn't about whether reform is necessary. It's whether the people in charge of the rules can be trusted to write new ones. Because once you see how the game is played, you don't forget it. And neither will the voters.